Mom had dropped a sock behind the washer. No way to reach it. Brett saw that his mother couldn't reach the sock. Brett was about 4. Brett left. About 30 minutes later, Brett came back with this. It came to be known as the SRD, sock retrieval device. Brett took a coat hanger, taped it to a piece of broken broomstick, put his name on it, and gave it to Mom. We've been using this thing for over 20 years. How does a 4-year-old do that? I don't know. He's just wired that way. He's been that way since he was little. Now, he's a mechanical engineer. We all have a way of going about life, of processing and understanding data, of making sense of it all in our world. Let's call it our personal operating system. Your phone has an operating system. Yours may be an Android, Apple, Windows. It's how your phone processes and organizes data. Well, we have an operating system. It's our paradigms. It's our decision matrix. It's our life experiences. It's our personality. It's all those things mixed together and more. And our personal operating systems tend to stay pretty stable at the core throughout life. Now, it is possible to make some changes if you make a conscious effort to change something in your life. You can write some new code in your brain in your operating system. They tend to be pretty much a tweak, some kind of a small change. You can make a major change, but it usually requires some kind of catastrophic event or something to the level of Marine Corps basic training. That's the only way you're going to make that kind of change. Otherwise, our systems tend to stay pretty stable. I'm a police officer and a pastor. 2 really different operating environments. Long before I became either, I came to understand that we are spiritual people. In fact, I've spent a great deal of my life studying the spiritual nature of who we are. I've studied formally and informally, a wide range of spiritual ways and cultures. I believe our perception of our spiritual nature is an integral part of our operating system. Now, just so you know, full disclosure here, okay, I chose to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. I believe my life synced with God through Christ, not perfectly. I fail way too often. I'm just another guy on the path. I've served in small and large churches, college students, and youth in prison. I've enjoyed the love and beauty of so many people down through the years. Now, early on, I was pretty clueless about the games people play. Like you're walking down the hall of church and you see, we'll call her Mrs. Smith. Hi, Mrs. Smith, how you doing? And she says, oh, I'm okay, Pastor. Now, what were the 2 words she just said? I'm okay. And I said, great. And I walked on down the hallway. And she was mad at me. Now, it took a little, come on, I'm a guy. Can't you just tell me straight up? Are you doing okay? I'm not doing good. Just tell me, will you? When I started to learn more about the games, I got it right later one time with it's really an older widow woman. Didn't have any kids, no family. And we were talking and something's bothering her. And I hung in there this time long enough to understand she was worried somebody would break into her house. There'd been a rash of break-ins, and she had a little bitty 2-bedroom frame house. I didn't think anybody would want to break into it. She was worried. My wife and I talked about it. Money was pretty tight, but we agreed, and I bought a deadbolt lock, took it to her house, installed it in her door so she could throw that deadbolt. Wasn't that big a deal? To hear her tell it, you think I did something extraordinary. But I also learned that my beautiful people will take everything out of you in their struggle to try to survive. Eventually, I started getting tired. I was getting burned out. I was frustrated that I couldn't find the key to help folks make major changes in their lives. After a while, I just didn't have the vision in me to see anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. I needed a change. I needed a job. I'm a protector by nature. I like a bit of adrenaline on occasion. I became a police officer in my own mid-sized city, the same area I had been a pastor for years. Now, being a police officer is not like TV. It's not like the movies. So let me just clear up a couple of things for you, okay? First, we do not have traffic cameras taking film of all of the crimes. Second, store video is usually a photo, a blurry photo of the top of somebody's head. No, I don't know the top of their head, and no, you can't make it unblurry. Be honest with me. If you're driving 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, are you really going to try the "I didn't know" excuse? Oh, photo recognition software. Have you seen that in the movies? Put the photo up and the computer is tick, 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 and figures it all out. May I show you the state of photo recognition software? You know those two? You? How about you? Yeah, me neither. That's photo recognition software, folks. But it didn't take long working in deep nights in my own city that my operating system started struggling with trying to make sense of it all. People I knew, people in my churches committed serious crimes too. They struggled with alcoholism and drug abuse. They had anger and communication issues. And they hid it from the people that loved them the most. I was angry, I was frustrated, I couldn't just, it didn't make sense to me, and eventually my personal operating system, my understanding of life just started to explode and implode. You see, I'd worked with these people for years, but now that I was in the middle of their situations during a struggle, I saw firsthand that they hid their insecurities, selfishness, meanness, and the fear in their lives. They were like magicians misdirecting the audience away from the mechanics of the trick to the illusion. Then the biggest shock of all, I started looking at my own life and seeing that I had the same kind of layers in my operating system. I saw the inconsistencies between who I wanted to be and who I really was. Eventually, I had to roll out a new operating system. Just kind of start some things over in my life, in my pastoring. As a pastor, I threw away 20 years of teaching. It's good teaching, solid teaching, insufficient teaching. I have no patience for games and protocol. My people are hurting. They're struggling to make it through life. And I have no time to dance around to the same old music. I've worked with the people I lead spiritually to be willing to redesign what we do, to prioritize, simplify, keep what's critical and effective and just get rid of the rest. For example, get people out of large lecture groups and get them into flexible, small home groups where they can build relationships and trust quickly. Both are crucial if you want to get real and open up, so they can explore how to make meaningful change in their lives, their families, and our communities. In regard to law enforcement, I believe a major role for law enforcement and the entire justice system is behavior change. How can I convince a person to choose to be a contributing part of society rather than a predator or an abuser of others? Now, I believe every person is a person of value. Therefore, my spiritual nature has led me to treat each person with respect. No matter how horrible they may behave or the evil they have within, I will do my best to treat each person with dignity. Now, that's not a new concept for law enforcement. Law enforcement has held treating people with respect as one of our core components since the first beats were walked under the light of gas lamps. So let's take a current scenario being played out around our world day after day. I, a police officer, have to be in the middle of some difficult situation. Say I've got to deal with people screaming at each other, run after a thief, stop an assault, or simply correct unsafe driving. Remember, at my core, I believe each person is valuable, so I'm going to treat each person with dignity and respect. But let's make this scenario more difficult by saying that the person or persons I'm dealing with have an operating system that's coded to say that the police will abuse them. I'm going to still try to treat them to the best of my ability with dignity, no matter how difficult the situation, including if I have to use a level of force. The person or persons have a choice, don't they? They can choose to reject my offer of respect. They can shut it out. Or worse, I've had folks actually come at me with insults and hate, hoping they could get me to break my operating system to fit the expected coding. One time I was first on scene to a drowning. It was a young woman. I'm there, right, as we're getting her out, and I go down, and I begin CPR. And I remember it, I still hear it, I feel it, I smell it. I remember I had this little biological hazard mask. I put it on, and I blew some breath, and that thing was worthless. She aspirated into it. Now I got body fluids on me, I remember it's on my wrist, and it's on my neck, and it's down my shirt, and I'm giving her breath, and I'm doing compressions, and I can hear the cracking, I can hear her breath coming out, and I'm going, and it's like going forever. And the medics get there, and they're setting up, and you got to keep doing the compressions, you got to keep doing the breaths. She's on me, I'm worried, it's a stress, and you just keep going. Eventually they take over. They load her up, they're still working on her. We go to the hospital, I follow the ambulance. We get to the hospital, they take her out, they're rolling her in, and her father shows up. And he rushes to his daughter, and he's pushing the medics away while they're working on her, and they're going, get him off. And I have to hold this guy back. And he's frustrated, he's scared, he's worried. This is his daughter. And I'm keeping him from his daughter so they can work and try to save his daughter. And this guy unleashes anger and hate. I get it, it's his daughter. But then racist insults and just comes at me. Yeah, her skin tone was a lot darker than mine. He never saw that her life fluids are on me, and I'm holding this guy back. And I've got some anger building up because I never met this guy. I never did anything to him. But I took it because my operating system is coded. This guy's somebody of value. And it's his daughter, and I get it. And I held him, and I still remember it. But maybe how I treated him worked his way in, huh? Maybe that data went to his operating system. Maybe it'll work its way deep and cause some malfunctions or something until, well, he has to do a rewrite and recognize that at least one police officer offered him dignity. Most of the time, the respect I offer, it's appreciated. I've learned even the most lost of souls wants to be known as a whole person, accepted and valued. It can be a single mom, addicted to drugs, trying to survive, living in ways she never ever imagined. That mom, on the inside, deep down, she really, really wants to be a good mom. Or an angry teen who only feels accepted among other angry teenagers, wearing hurt like a coat of armor, screaming out with displays of self-destruction. That teen, sometimes really close to the surface, wants somebody to affirm their value. And maybe in that affirmation, that relationship, they will choose to rewrite their dysfunctional operating system to one that contributes to their life and to the lives of those around them. I've had everybody from spiritual leaders to agnostics to my own members ask me, how can you exist in both worlds? Pastor, police officer. I had a little girl one time, she locked up, just stood there looking left and right, left and right. Pastor, police officer. Pastor, police officer. Seriously, she was just frozen. She could not put the two concepts together within her understanding of life. But you know what? My trying to live as a sincere spiritual person, recognizing that every person is someone of value, they work together. And they work together in the lives of many, many police officers and protectors. Here's what I've learned in my journey to discover more of myself and others. If you want to make a meaningful change, start by allowing the data you ignore into your system. Blow it up if you have to. Rewrite it. You combine that with the recognition that every person you ever lock eyes with is someone of value, and you'll begin a journey to seeing and influencing the possibilities around you.